Yo, that's crazy work. All right, so let the people come back. Let's see. Let's see if the numbers come back. Put me up on the other screen so I can see. Let's see. Yeah, it started over like two. Gotta mute your Zoom. Put me up on the other John. Damn, bro. So did it save? That's crazy work.
It's on live right now.
Sheesh. That's on crazy, bro. My bad, y'all. Somebody was calling me, dog. It messed the whole John up. He was definitely heated up. You hear me? Boy was cooking. Pull a John down. Let me see what's going on, man. Uh, nah, the numbers. Yeah, leave me like that for a little bit. Let me see the numbers, man. This is crazy, bro. Uh, yeah, let me see. Yup. Okay. Okay, I was wondering what's going on with that. What about Facebook? It's cooking? Ain't cooking like near? Okay, so it's just straight YouTube. Oh, it was connected? Look, I was on there. Well, let me show you when the joint on there. But it uploaded. I think we still on there too. Yeah, hell yeah, we still on there. Yeah, Facebook clicking. All right, cool. All right, let me get back, man. Let me get back. Let me get back. All right, so this specialty debt is binding us as heirs, right? To make us assume this debtor role, right? Because if you're not the heir, the living heir, and executor, you don't have the control. Okay, so the executor and the living heir controls the corpus of the estate and the income, right? That's our goal. We was born here to rule, right? You got dominion, right? So dominion is nothing but control. You got control, right? You own nothing because everything is God's, right? All we do is control and administrate. So we have to understand that nothing is ours and we're fiduciaries, right? And when you in that commercial world, you have to wear a hat, okay? Whether that's heir at law or executor, right? And you must protect the estate, okay? So you got to think of this like ancient times. The kingdom always has to be protected. If it's in the public, you letting the public drain your estate. You letting the public drain your securities, okay? You letting the public drain your bonds, right? That's what's going on right now. Long as you keeping that in the public, they're eating your state of wherever the state you at. That foreign corporation and that statutory entity that was incorporated is your fiduciaries, right? Magistrates, all of this is all Rome, right? I want y'all to think of this shit like Rome, okay? That's Rome over there, right? That's that Roman Empire, right? In Rome, they had municipalities and institutions, right? Today, these states ofs and these hospitals is nothing but municipalities and institutions. Okay? And in Rome, they had a republic. It was called the res. Res mean the thing, publica, res publica, okay? So the res publica, or the republic, right, freed slaves, right? Remember, so you know how in America we was the freedmen and all of that, right? So that's the same thing in Rome, where they had a little bit of rights, right? You got civil rights that you still can inherit your estate, okay? You still not seen as an heir over your estate. You're seen as a citizen. Sit and sin, sit and sin, sit and sin. I don't want to be a sit in sin. I don't like sitting in sin, right? I'm God's child, right? This is all mine, okay? This is put here for me. Okay? So I don't want to be no Walmart, no corporation citizen, sit in sin, right? So you sitting in sin while you in that corporation, okay? Think about that. Right? Now, understand that you must be free. Come out of her, Christ said. Come out of her. You must be free from Egypt or Rome, or right. They have your estate on file, locked up in they trust, right, in they house. So if you in they house, you got to listen to their customs, meaning they codes, right, they statutes, right. So if you was conceived in they house and they found you, because that's what they calling you, a foundling, right, then you are their child and you are their ward and you must listen to them. That's why your mama can't save you, your daddy can't save. Everybody is considered a ward, no matter how old he is. If they didn't step in as they role as heir and executor, they're cooked. So if people out here teaching you all this, they're lying to you. Okay? So what they did was they came amongst us and they separated us and our estate. They came amongst us and they separated us from our birthright with something called a specialty debt. Okay, I want y'all you're special. Think of it like that. So with this specialty debt, we got to make a special deposit. Okay, you got to make the special deposit into your trust, man. And that's what this class is going to be about, right? It's going to show y'all how to fulfill your obligation of your estate. You worrying about discharging, okay? You worrying about all the other shit. Once you the executor and the living heir, you now everything is prepaid, okay? You just set it off with your estate credit, okay? So think of it like that. You don't have to worry about none of that. You already got credits generating, okay? So you seen from birth trust, right? You seen from birth estate, right? I showed y'all in New Jersey, just like where mine is, right? And I showed y'all the IRS menu, okay? So it's nothing they can say. Now, attached to this trust corpus is something called annuities, right? This annuities is attached to these specialty, right? So in this specialty, um when you make a pledge has to get back. Okay? I just want y'all to understand this. Everything we do is a pledge. We're pledging everything. These applications and everything that we're signing are called pledges. Everybody keep mixing it up saying it's securities. It's not really securities. It don't turn into a security until a pledge is given. Okay? So that application becomes the pledge, which backs the securities. Okay? So the thing about this is we out here giving out all of these pledges, right? But a pledge work like this. The Bible say, if you take a man's pledge, it must be given back to him after sundown, right? So you got a day in the Bible, right? The thing is, when I pledge something, you don't own it, okay? So when it's a state got a pledge, they didn't own it, right? It's like an escrow, right? Escrow meaning until an obligation gets done, then they'll release it to you, right? So we don't got to pay nothing as fiduciaries. All we have to do is perform, right? So our performance equals payment, right? So us not performing and discharging and setting off this specialty debt, we cooked. Throw me up on the rich of knowledge background, bro. We cooked, right? So now think of it like this, right? Everything that's operating right now because there's no money is something called specialty debts. Even the Federal Reserve knows. Okay? Even the Federal Reserve knows. Um, we have to know how to claim these, not spend it on the face value, right? Because behind the debt is a credit, right? So we don't always want the face value. It's credit behind these, right? So this one was issued in 2003. So I got a 2003 note, right? That's been circulating from 2003. So me understanding these specialty debts, meaning, okay, so annuity goes off the life of an instrument, right? So since 2003 all the way to 2025, that's how much annuities attached to this instrument, right? Now I could do two things. I could spin it. Rich off knowledge, the lane behind me, Brody. The little the John. It just say host will be here soon, right? So understanding, I could spin this two ways, right? I could take it to the public and put it out there and spin it to face value and do it like that, right? Or I can claim this instrument. Okay, I can claim this instrument. Okay, I can claim this instrument. Okay, and get the credits on a private side, because it's on a public side it's a debt, on the private side it's a credit. That's just how double book banking go in here, right? So we got to understand that we got to stop looking at the delusion. So if you seen you pay for your car cash, so quote unquote, right, you just giving them more specialty debts to claim. They're happy that you spending Federal Reserve notes. Why? Because these are bonds, right? They're happy that they want you to spend this. Why? Because I could claim the back value from this, not necessarily this 20 on him. Okay, this 20 might be worth 20,000 in credit on the backside because it's been circulating for so long, right? It might be 200,000, right? So that's what we gotta understand when we're dealing with specialty debts. Okay, it's a public side and it's a private side. And whoever claims it gets the principal interest of the instrument. Okay? So right now we're not understanding how the game go and how to finance ourselves because we don't know what type of instrument it is. Okay? How many times you heard, oh, it's a bond, but they don't understand what it is exactly. Okay? Now, after we're done here, you go do your own homework and you're gonna see, okay, this is exactly what's going on, and nobody's talking about it. Okay? Nobody's talking about it, right? That's what we gotta understand. Okay. Now on the drawing it says certified copy does a certified copy not valid unless the raised great seal of the state or the seal of the issuing municipality or county is affixed. So this ain't even valid if the seal ain't on there. What breaks down again to what we were saying. Okay? Once the pledge is made, you get something back called a specialty debt. And the creditor of that specialty debt gets paid principal or interest off that instrument. That's how it go. You don't need no security agreement. You don't need none of this shit niggas was saying because a specialty debt automatically come with the consideration. Okay? It automatically has the consideration attached because the seal is there. The seal is an ancient promise. All the way back to the Bible, everything is sealed. The seven seals, okay? Seal deed for the inheritance in the land. So we got to understand these seals under law of merchant means something totally different. Okay? That's what we got to understand, right? Now, understanding this specialty debt, this what you got to understand now, okay? It's an escrow, right? So think of it like this on a mortgage, right? You go pay for the house, right? You put a little down payment, and then once you done paying for it or you performing, then they give you back the title of it, and then you just be done with it, right? That's what's happening with our state, with our birth certificate. And that's why I always say we mortgage in the birth certificate. Because that's what it is. Remember, the law said they put a mortgage on all the people's property. Okay? All the people, not just niggas, not just coloreds, not just blacks. Okay? That's why y'all need to chill out with this racist shit because everybody's locked in this colored ward funneling game. Everybody. Okay? So if you're not discharging this obligation and selling an account, and you as the executor don't have certain things which I'm going to teach y'all in class to have and sending it to the IRS, they're not going to look at you as the executor or the heir because you supposed to have the paperwork together. Okay? You supposed to have that ledger together. Okay? And that's what I'm gonna end up giving everybody free in class that come. I'm gonna give everybody a template of the estate ledger that you supposed to be having as the executor and heir handling this office business. Okay? So escrow agent is really a trustee of an express trust. Okay? I want y'all to understand this. An escrow agent is really a trustee of an express trust. Okay? I want y'all to understand that. Holds duties for both grantor and grantee. Okay? So this what happens. Hospitals and registrar acts as what? The escrow agent. That's what it just said, right? This clarified that the above is correctly copied from a record on file in my office. Okay? So the registrar acts as the escrow trustee holding a birth record, a state deed, until the fullness or the appointment of the father. Okay, so you got to understand until you be appointed that executor and that heir, and you take over this infant or this minor or this decedent estate that the IRS say, you ain't doing nothing. You not doing nothing out there. That's why y'all need to seek first the kingdom, right? And everything in his righteousness. Let me add that in his righteousness, the right way, right? Specialty deed, the right way. Okay, a specialty debt under seal, the right way. Teaching y'all the right way. Not that bull crap, not that secure party creditor, sovereign. No, no, understand this. Okay? This shit is spiritual. This shit is biblical. Okay? Everything in class, I'm going to show y'all that we taking everything from the Bible, from the biblical law, because this funneling and these public institutions came from the imagery of the Bible. Okay? These England, we're speaking English, no matter what y'all talk about. That's why I always, like my prophet said, you need a good European education. So I make sure I go read everything in England, and then I come right back to the United States, and then it lines all the way up. Okay? So we speaking the King's English, but we don't know how the King's game go. Okay? And this is what we got to understand. The seal of the king mean it was irrevocable. If a king sealed it, that means it can't be unsealed only by the right person. Okay? Only the right person can unseal it. And in the Bible it says only the lamb can unseal it. Okay? You got to understand. You can't come in this shit and hate. You can't come in this shit in anger. You got to come in this joint humble. And you got to understand that you have been tested. Okay? You have been tested. Okay? And everything will be tested. God said that everything will be tested. Okay? And this knowledge has been testing you. Okay? Now you must awaken. Now you must leave all the child things alone, meaning your birth certificate says child. You 40. What are you doing with a child's birth certificate? Ain't you an adult? So you what you have to do? We have to now, okay, we got to surrender that. Okay? You got to now take that with the IRS and everything that we going to attach with it. And we got to now, hey, look, I'm going to surrender that. You feel me? we going to put that on the bed, right? That was a minor account. That was supposed to go. And that's what the thing, a specialty debt lasts for 20 years. Remember, in their law, you're supposed to be 21 and take over your account. So their specialty debt lasts for 20 years, right? So you was been supposed to settle this obligation. So in equity, it say if the executor and heir fails to settle or discharge the specialty debt, they're in breach of trust. They're in breach of trust. So you see, now they can do this presumption, hold you liable, say you fault, you got to pay the debt because the executor and heir is in breach of trust, man. Want y'all to understand, y'all in breach of trust because you're not performing. Okay? You must perform. And performance meaning by deed. You will be judged by your deeds. That's what God said. Okay? Be judged by your deeds, right? Okay? So this means parents deed property to their infant child, courts automatically assume acceptance. The child can't refuse. Okay? Now flip it. When parents deed the child's name to the state via birth certificate, the state is the grantee. Okay? Okay, the state is acting as the grantee, and we're gonna call it the grit, okay? We're gonna call it the grit, okay? That's what it is, right? GRIT, the grit, right? Grantor retained income trust. That's what they got it locked in. They got us locked us in a grip. Okay, but you not retaining the income. They giving you welfare in Section 8. They giving you benefits. You need the whole trust corpus and the income. Okay, that's your seat. That's your position. You got to understand that. Okay, this is what we got to understand, right? The depository of an escrow is sometimes spoken of as an agent of a grantor and sometimes as an agent of both parties. Yet, strictly speaking, he is a trustee of an express trust with duties to perform. Okay? I want y'all to understand this, y'all. Okay? When I say you need a trust, and then I say, yo, do you got to express trust? Is it written down? People be like, how you don't got it written down? A trust must be expressed, man. Okay? Get a little closer, bro, if you pulling up something. All right? Now, key takeaways, okay? A specialty debt. A debt evidenced by a sealed instrument, like a bond, deed, or contract under seal. Okay? Unlike ordinary debt, a specialty debt did not require proof of consideration. Okay? A specialty debt does not require proof of consideration. Okay? The seal itself is made a binding. The seal itself makes it binding. The seal itself makes it binding. The seal itself makes it binding. Okay? Want y'all to understand this, man. Birth certificates as registered name of states are sealed instruments. Equals specialty debts. Okay? Think about it. In law, the heir, living man, living woman, that's what we are, is the specialty creditor. Now, you heard secure party creditor before, but I'm pretty sure you ain't heard you the specialty creditor. Right? I'm pretty sure you ain't never heard that you the specialty credit. Okay, write that down. You're gonna need that. Okay, because the name estate of the infant estate is a bonded instrument of the seal. The state treats the name as the debtor, but in truth, the heir has the superior claim over the estate. So instead of you not acting like the person, instead of you being the living you in God's image and come and take control and dominion as the heir, you play the debtor. And I'm telling you, wake up. I'm telling you, wake up. You ain't no damn debtor. Okay. Okay. Courts often presume the heir doesn't know. So they treat you as surety debtor instead of the specialty creditor. I'm gonna treat you like the debtor until you come in demanding this shit. Okay? That's what you gotta understand. Right? A special deposit when funds or property are deposited into trust for a particular purpose. What you think this purpose is? Why you think you need to convey this until you express trust? Huh? Okay. Unlike general deposits, we ain't making no general. That's that public. No general deposits. Okay. A special deposit must use only, right, for a special purpose. Example, if an heir, me and you, tenders an instrument, specialty debt, tender, remember, tender, we gonna tender this thing. Okay. The fiduciary must treat it as a specialty trust deposit, not a personal property of the trustee. Come on, man. I told y'all we here to protect the estate, and y'all out here bullshit. You on hell getting a job when your job was work. Your father said, I need you to work. Okay? Whatever a specialty or other written contracts for payment of money or the delivery of property or for the performance of a duty, the performance of a duty. You're not performing. We out here selling records and you not performing. Okay? Remember, the birth certificate is a record. Stars perform to sell records. If you a star, arm, leg, arm, head, right? If you a star, you gotta perform. And then if you perform, they clap and give you what? Credit. They clap and give you credit. This is what we gotta understand. Since you're not performing, you gotta go to Job and get FRNs and still don't even know how to work it. I'm telling you now, live, brother. Heaven on earth. Okay? It's all yours, right? A specialty is a contract under seal bond deed mortgage promissory note. A bond deed mortgage promissory note. Promissory note. I'm the holder of this. Who's the creditor? Who's the creditor? Okay? You gotta understand that, y'all. Gotta understand that, man. Acceptance by grantee, right? Execution of a deed creates a promise to cancel the debt or assume liability. By deed cancels the debt. Ain't I keep telling y'all? You out here not fulfilling no obligation. I'm canceling shit out. We cashing out, baby. You hear me? I just want y'all to understand this shit, man. Okay? Specialty debt, birth certificate equals a specialty instrument. It represents an obligation, a state bond, right? Specialty creditor, the living heir woman is the rightful creditor because the estate obligates your inheritance. By default, the state treats you as a debtor fiduciary, but the law says the heir has the superior claim. But you sleep. You just now figured out what it's called. Okay? Special deposit into the trust. A specialty instrument must be handled as a special deposit. If you don't claim it, the state use it as a general deposit, a public debt. Okay. As executor, you can redeposit, reconvey the estate into a private trust. Kingdom. Okay. We gotta understand this, man. You leaving your bankroll in the public and they milking you, B. When you supposed to be using these credits to take care of you and your beneficiaries, man. Okay? That's what you gotta understand, man. So once you now get the understanding, now you gotta put this, oh, I gotta tuck these public thing, these res publica, these things they gave me in the public. I gotta fulfill these obligations and put them Jones in a private. Okay? So if we put it all together, house means trust, right? Public institution means house, means trust, right? New Jersey told y'all that. It's a trust, right? In ancient times, a house meant more than a building. It was a lineage trust. Land, corpus, heirs, beneficiaries, right? Got to understand that. Kingdoms was simply a collection of houses. That's what make a kingdom. When our houses come together. We come together like Voltron. Okay? You got to understand that. Conquerors broke houses. Babylon, Rome, and later colonizers destroyed family houses. They registered children as wards of the state instead of heirs of their house. African, natives, right? Hebrews, houses was broken, right? Public institutions equals a new house. Gotta understand that. You being born, registered at a hospital, a fundling hospital at that, where childs are seen as wards or found exposed and they using the state as guardians and trustees over your God-given estate? Nah, dog. Gotta understand that. Okay? Birth certificate equal deed of trust. The birth certificate is a sealed instrument. It's a specialty debt. Parents are the grantors. Deed, the name, estate, the registrar acts as trustee and escrow. Deliver is to the state, and the state acts as grantee. The name becomes a bonded estate, and it's drained from the public trust that I just showed y'all New Jersey's talking about. Okay? You supposed to have control of the corpus and the income. You just got the certificate. You just got the evidence that a record. What are you doing? You got all the proof you need that you can be the executor over the state, and you just holding it. I'm not understanding. IRS admits an infant is a decedent of an estate or a grantor of a trust, awaiting the SSN. That means the birth, you're treated as an estate and dead in law, right? And then bounded under the Social Security trust or insurance, as we can say, right? Got to understand this, y'all. Everybody playing a role, okay? So today I'm revealing, right, the gated secrets of the kingdom and the law and commerce, the secret of an infinite state. In the Bible and ancient law, every house was a trust. The land was the body of the trust. Land, corpus, you, the body. Okay? And the family carried the bloodline, inheritance, culture, heritage. Okay? The father or the mother act as trustees, and the kingdoms were simply a union of houses. That's why God said when you get married, you one. Okay? But conquerors learned that the way to enslave a people is not just with chains, but by breaking their houses, right? If you destroy the family's estate, scatter the lineage, and register the children as wards, you cut off the inheritance. This is what Babylon did to Israel, what Rome did to the nations, what the colonizers did to the Africans and the natives and the Hebrews, right? To replace the family houses, the state created public institutions, hospitals, orphanages, prisons, right? And declared them to be houses. The officers of those institutions became informers and trustees. Okay? Understand that. Informers and trustees, okay? Think about that. When a child was born, when a child was born there, the parents unknowingly pledged and deeded the child's estate into the state house through a birth certificate, that mortgage. That mortgage, right? The birth certificate, social security number is proof that the estate exists. It is sealed instruments, specialty debts. It is the deeds of trust. The parents is the grantor and the registrar is the trustee. The state is the grantee. The name is created is the infant estate award, a bond. Okay? I want y'all to understand that. It wasn't nothing about no baby. It wasn't nothing. This shit wasn't just about no baby coming into life. Okay? You created something in this commercial world, right? The IRS itself tells the truth. An infant is a decedent of an estate or grantor of a trust awaiting a social security number. In other words, you are presumed dead in law, and your estate is bonded into the public debt system. Now, this is what people gotta understand. When it's saying you dead in law, it's saying the estate is dead. Because entities and corporations don't recognize people, it just recognize other entities, right? So the estate is dead. When you hear these sentences like this is the estate dead. So why are you acting like the dead thing? You out here running around with this name and this social and you acting like the dead thing. You gotta bury it. Okay? You have to bury the dead. You have to leave it alone. You have to come out of that system and you gotta ascend to heirship. Okay? You gotta heir is the highest trust law is the highest law. You need to get out of this statutory person that they created, an incorporated person, and you need to ascend to heirship. Okay? You need to go from debtor to executor and heir. Simple. Okay? That's equity. Okay? Now here's the hidden key. A specialty debt requires a special deposit into a trust. Let me say this again. Now here's the hidden key. A specialty debt requires a special deposit into trust. If the heir does not claim the estate and reconvey it into a private trust, the state presumes you abandon it. Then you are treated not as the creditor, but as the debtor of the name. That's why you pay taxes, fines, and debts, and loans, and car notes, and bills, and right? Because in their system, you're standing as surety for the estate instead of the heir. Okay? This is what we gotta understand, man. So we gotta understand, man. But the truth is this: you are the living heir. You are the specialty creditor. You are the rightful executor of your estate if you reconvey it. If you deposit in, if you deposit your estate into a private trust, you fulfill your obligation as the heir. So when Christ said, I ain't come to abolish the law, Christ said, I ain't come to abolish the law, I came to fulfill it. Okay? If you deposit your estate into the private trust, you fulfill your obligation as the heir and you take back your inheritance. Come on, man. Seek first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all other things will be given to you. All other things will be prepaid. Okay? The Bible says, if children, then heirs. If you're a child of God, then you're an heir, not a debtor. If you're a child of God, you're an heir, not a debtor. Okay? Heir of God and joint heirs with Christ. That means your role is not a ward, not a debtor, okay? But an heir and executor. The whole system turns whether you stand as the living heir or you remain silent and be treated as the debtor. This go back to Adam. Okay? Eve is talking to that serpent. That serpent is the hospital. If you pay attention to the cross got the serpent on it, especially in England when the funneling started. Okay? It had this serpent on it, right? And the serpent deceived her. The hospital deceived mommy. And that's what's happening going on right now. They have been deceived from the serpent, which is on the cross, right? But our God, Christ said, look, I need y'all to rebuke your name and pick up your cross. Okay? We have to pick up the cross, man. Okay? We gonna take control of this shit. Okay? Now you gotta understand this. This is what we gotta do. Okay? This is ancient law of houses, right? And the hidden system of a state, infinite state. The secret is simple. Claim your house, act as executor, and act as heir and stand as executor. This is how you move from being treated as property, 14th Amendment, slaves, Negroes, African American, colored, right? This how you come from being property. I'm telling you, this shit been going on for long, bro. This shit been going on for hella long, man. That's what everybody was talking about. We property in it, right? So you want to change that? This is how you move from being property of the state and back into your father's house. You see what I'm saying? This is what we gotta understand, bro. And that's the name of the game, bro. So, what day we got? September 14th, bro? Was that second Sunday? Second Sunday. Second Sunday, we gonna show y'all the specialty class, and we gonna show y'all how heirs is supposed to fulfill their obligation and uh be in that executive office, right? And that's where you're supposed to be at. That's where you're supposed to be at, administrating this estate. Okay? And if you ain't on that side, they gassing you. If they're not saying, look, I got my estate back, let me show you something, run. You know what I'm saying? Run. Um, yeah, let's pull up. Let's see what let me see some comments, man. Let me see. Okay, so that's the specialty class we got coming up, guys. We gonna make sure y'all follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We outside, man. Um, we outside for real. Okay. Make sure y'all definitely go Rich Off Knowledge Instagram, type in our classes too, man. We got the ebooks. We got the ebooks, we got the seminars, man. We moving. We about to have a podcast. So we can start being in this social media realm, giving people the right knowledge. Okay. Um Now y'all make sure y'all share this joint out, man. Make sure y'all put y'all people up on game because everybody be stealing my videos and taking my content. So what I'm doing now what I'm doing now is we gonna start chopping up our own videos and posting up our own videos and making sure people understand the source. Okay, understand that Rich of Knowledge, we got our own platform. We don't need y'all sharing our videos. We don't need y'all keep going viral. Y'all get millions of views off our videos, and it ain't coming to none of our channel, and we don't get none of the proceeds. So now we gonna have our own podcast. We got our own YouTube channel now, and we gonna turn it up. That way, everything y'all getting is directly from the source. It's not chopped up. It ain't like they can explain it because they can't. They just taking my videos, right? And they ain't even most of them ain't even in class, so they don't even know. I'm only giving out 20% in the public. They don't even know the other 80, right? So that's what people are doing, and now we taking over though. So y'all gonna see us posting more on Instagram. Y'all gonna see me going live more. Um, and yeah, just tap in. We got the Rich of Knowledge website, right? richofknowledge.com. You feel me? Y'all can tap into that, get all the ebooks on there. You can sign up, learn how to sign up for classes. We got classes 3 times a week, and we outside. We teaching the kingdom. Our authority comes straight from God. Okay, we we coming straight out the scriptures, right? And that's public law. You know, appreciate it, good brother. Appreciate it, good brother. Um, are we able to see other? That's the comments from everybody right there on there. Okay, cool, man. Comment, man. Let me know if that was a good breakdown, man. Let me know if you understood it. Let me know. Was everything type clear? Are you still confused? Give us any type of feedback y'all got. I know y'all ain't hearing this nowhere else. So it might have been a lot, but come to class. Make sure you're a student, man, and we're gonna master this. This is simple. Okay, this is simple, man. Absolutely, man. This the game, y'all. We playing Monopoly. There's no money. So specialty debts. So specialty debts, man. And it's another side to that. Where the principal and interest at, not the face value. And that's what we gotta understand. We don't we don't just want to discharge. We want the credits. We want all the credits on the instrument. We want all the crumbs. We ain't just discharging it and we happy. Yeah, I ain't have to give you Federal Reserve notes in the first place, nigga. So I'm not happy. I ain't gotta pay no more. You know what I'm saying? No, I want my principal and interest that you created off that pledge I gave you. Right? You feel me? And under God's law, you don't act like you own pledges. You gotta return that to the owner within sundown. So again, y'all gotta get in y'all Bible, man. It's public law, no matter what people say. It ain't religion. The Bible about a kingdom, a king, which is God, a kingdom, and his kids and the heirs and his beneficiaries, bro. Um, we just happen to be his beneficiaries. You feel me? And this is all of his will, right? We got to keep God's will. We got to keep God trust, right? He had faith in us. He turned the word into flesh, right? So you was God's idea, right? So to get an idea across, you gotta say some words sometimes, right? So you say words to get across your ideas so people can vision your idea. So God said, look, I'm gonna say this word and this word turn to flesh. And it happened to be you and me, right? So I we are intellectual property of God's. You are God's idea. You are a man. You are not a person. Okay? You are not a birth certificate. You are not a social security number. Okay? So hopefully today you understand that in the first institution ever was family. Okay? The first institution ever, the first house ever was family. Okay? You hear me? That's number one. So we gotta understand that we must take over our house. The day that the state, the public is taking control of the house, the day that the state is acting like the parents, the day that the state is saying they got more control over the house is unnatural. Okay? Natural law is God's law, and that's family, estate, inheritance, privately. It's not no commercial product. You feel me? Only if you using it under usufruct, right? And if you're using it, then you got to pay me principal and interest back. And that's what they do. They owe us because they bankrupt, and the creditors is us, and we don't even know it. Our estate backs the credit of the nation. You just read it. Okay? The credit is backed by the nation of the people. So you got to understand that when you sign something, you give them a pledge, that pledge creates securities, and that securities create credits. So all our pledges is creating credit. That's how you see a debt note. A debt note is evidence of a debt. Federal Reserve note is evidence of a debt. That mean they owe somebody. That federal bank that's printing out them, that mean they owe somebody. How's it gonna be money when niggas using it when they owe somebody? Okay, you gotta understand that, bro. They owe us. Okay, they owe us, bro. And we gotta start acting like specialty creditors because you special. Okay, don't let nobody tell you you not. You special in God's eyes. You hear me? You a king. Okay. They asked Christ, "Are you a king?" He said, "That's why I was born. That was the reason I was born." So you was born to rule. You was born to have dominion and control. Right now, you have no control. You a debtor. You a ward. You considered a, even though you of age, right? You could still considered a ward. You considered property of the state because you don't act in your executor and heir in your living heir capacity. Okay? Until you stop fucking around and stop playing and learn how to set off this specialty obligation, your ass cooked. That's why people wasn't understanding it. They creating security agreements. They doing all this type of shit, sending bonds, creating bonds. It said you don't need no consideration. You don't need none of that. That's how you know they not fucking reading. That's how you know people are fucking stupid. They're incompetent still. It's still the same information 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You finally hearing something new, finally, from a new mind. You finally hearing something new. I bet you I ain't never heard this, right? So now you gotta go do your homework and you gotta come to class and you gotta perform, right? Because you gotta think of it like this. Annuities has been maturing since birth, since that thing was registered. Since that shit was registered, right? You gotta understand they just been fucking your shit up, right? Can you go to that government's annuities act, bro? You got that shit pulled up on your that John? I want to show y'all how the birth certificate is attached to the annuities, and nobody's talking about this. Nobody's talking about this shit. Yeah, the government annuity act. Y'all pull that up for me. I'm gonna show y'all that. Go down. Show y'all something. And nobody's talking about this. Nobody can't even find you the act. You probably just hearing that act with the birth certificate in it. Everybody just saying what the birth certificate is. They don't got proof in law what it is. I'm showing you in proof in law what it was. I got the act where it came out of. Go ahead, scroll down, Brody. Keep going down. A little second down. Yep. Keep on going. I'll tell you when to stop. All right, hold on. Keep on going. Keep going. Right there. All right, hold up. Go up real quick. Up. That little part. Let me get them two sentences at the top and then scroll down. Nah, keep it big so they can see. But scroll up. Them first two sentences on that page right there. Yup. Now look what it say, right? It say the declaration of identity is required. Shall be a declaration by the purchaser of the annuities, one of the purchasers by some person on his or their behalf, that the person named in the certificate of birth, the person named in the, yeah, bring it a little closer, Brody. Bring it a little closer, Brody. Right? Now think, look what it's saying. Just a little bit out so they can see the whole sentence. Right there. Okay? The person named in the certificate of birth or baptism or declaration as the age tendered. Didn't I tell you we gotta tender this specialty? And proof of the age or what a person was appointed to be a nominee. Okay, now scroll down just a little bit, bro. Just a little. Keep on going. Now look, watch. Hold on, right there. 8. Go up a little bit. Right there, 6. I meant the annuity to be granted shall be calculated. Okay, according to the age of the nominee. So I told y'all these annuities go by age limit. Like this, oh, you've been registered at, like, take mine for instance, right? Mine's is 1988. Okay. Oh, you was registered at 1988. So we got to do from 1988 all the way to 2025. And that's all my annuities I get back. That's all the annuities you get back. You understand me? You see how I could just line that up for y'all? Go get the act and show you a birth certificate. Not, oh no, the birth certificate's a bond. And you just saying it, accusations and just saying shit. All right, take it off, bro. Let me back to the rich off knowledge screen, man. Let my emblem show on these niggas, cause these niggas, y'all gurus don't got it. And I'm telling y'all, they gonna start telling y'all about this now. Now that I'm coming public and I'm letting certain things out publicly, watch how I change single-handedly with my tribe. We're gonna change the information that's being circulated around. Now people are gonna start talking about this. I'm telling you, you better jump on it. You better get with me now, right? Because people gonna try to remix it, water it down, and sell it back to you for $10,000. I'm telling you. Come to class, 222. Come learn how to specialty. Donate for class. Get there 3 times a week and learn how to operate as a true and executor and an heir over that estate. You smell me? Come on, man. Tell me they seen that, bro. Comment down if you seen that. How we could just go straight to the act, pull it up, go back to the Fundling Act when we bring up the birth certificate, bro. That little first part. Go to the website real quick. See how we could just go to acts and pull up what? Oh no, it's say birth certificate. It's gonna say it. We're not. Oh yeah, the birth certificate is a bond and it's worth millions. And no. Okay, it's worth however much the annuities is on it. Okay. Now, at this act, previous issue to respect of us of certain children admitted into the Fundling Hospital of a shortened form birth certificate. A shortened form birth certificate. Okay, we do this. That's why I be saying y'all gurus don't want no smoke with me. They know they watch Rich Off Knowledge Instagram and they get their scraps from me, man. The world know this. I'm the leader of the new school, man. Everybody learn from Rich Off Knowledge, and you should, because it's the right shit. You hear me? It's the right shit. Finally, somebody got it right. You hear me? Finally somebody got it right, bro. So I want y'all now to understand now that we understand what these instruments is that they're giving us. Okay, we now are competent, and they said, King David said, you want to buy wisdom over any royalties, any money. You want wisdom. Okay, you want wisdom, right? Wisdom mean application, right? And now that we understand these applications that we've been signing and putting, now that we understand, there's nothing they can do to us now. The game was meant for us to fail when we didn't know. You see, the game was meant for you to fail because you didn't know. Remember, he said, my people are going to perish for the lack of knowledge, okay? For the lack of understanding. Okay. So we now seek, we know, we understand this under seal instrument. Oh, this ain't like a regular contract and you got a UCC one and you got a security agreement and you got to send a bond in. No, no. Okay. Come on, man. It's it's, it's by deed. But how you by deed? You see what I'm saying? So understand this, man. If they not competent of this and they not breaking it down to you like this, understand you being robbed. Understand you being robbed, bro. If they ain't breaking it down to you, telling you, yo, look, you discharge it with the credits of your estate credits that you got from your annuities. That's how you offset the public and you balance the books. If they not telling you that, run, run, bro. I'm telling y'all. Because now that the gold and silver is gone, the only thing left out here is something called specialty debts. Understand laws of merchant and understand credit instruments. That's what they not telling y'all. And everything is under biblical scripture. That's why the Bible is public law. Everything is under biblical scripture. They told us in the year of the Bible to make sure that we read the scripture. They said the nation will be tested to in a way it never been tested before. And the scripture is deeply needed for our people to understand, bro. We gotta yo, yeah, pull up that public law, bro. Bring it next to it. Let it bring that shit to the side of that joint real quick. Because that's what people now. So what's happening is you'll get somebody that's know all about the law but don't know nothing about the Bible, right? Or you'll get somebody that know all about the Bible but don't know nothing about the law. What y'all getting was Jenkins Bay and the new mind and rich off knowledge is I got both. Get a little closer, Brody. I got both. I understand both now. Everybody understand. They see my journey. They see where I came from. You understand? I got both, right? Whereas the history of our nation clearly illustrates the value and voluntarily apply the teachings of the scriptures, right? In the lives of individuals, families, and societies, where this nation faces the great challenges that will test, that will test, that will test this nation that has that nation as it has never been tested before. Special. That's why they said, is it a republic, Benjamin Franklin? He said, if you can keep it, if you can keep it, if you can understand it, it's a republic and you can control it. Customs, right? Because when you control a house, you got your own customs and laws. Like they got their statutes and codes. You got your own customs and laws. You see? So yeah, you free if you can keep it. You see what I'm saying? If you can keep it, and most of the times we, as you can see, for years we ain't keep it. Okay, until now, until it was a son born under the law, right? Coming to redeem his people. You smell me? And that's what we on, man. Okay, understand now. Go up a little bit, bro. Let me get the republic. Okay, now hold on. There you go. Now look what it say. It say, uh, the Rock of the Republic. You see that shit on your joint? Give me the arrow. Give me the arrow where you see that. Declaration, Constitution. Oh, okay, go right there. Now, whereas many, whereas many of our great national leaders, among President Washington Jackson, all of them, right, pay tribute, right, for the influence of the Bible of our country development. In words of President Jackson, listen to him. In the words of President Jackson, the Bible is the rock on which our republic rests. Didn't I tell y'all? Res publica. It's Rome, man. It's Rome, man. Welcome to Babylon. And if you don't understand the scriptures in the Bible, your ass cook. If you don't understand the rock, rich off knowledge, the rock, R-O-K, the rock, that the Bible is the rock where the republic rests. Come on, man. I rest my case, man. See? That's why my prophet said, I'm going to use this Bible to condemn the European, man. Okay? That's why my prophet said, I'm going to use this Bible to condemn the European because everything's in that Bible. All you got to do is decode it. All you got to do is decode that Bible, man. And that's what we did on Rich Off Knowledge. And that's what we did in New Mind Temple. We decoded the Bible and we went and got back our inheritance, which is now why we get to claim millions in credits that y'all be seeing us posting. You see, we owe to the treasury owe us. All right? You got to understand the treasury owe us. Okay? Now, go to that definition, bro, of the records for me on our website. And if y'all go to richoffknowledge.com, I'm actually teaching y'all something. So after we get off here, man, go check out richoffknowledge.com and y'all can see y'all have everything for yourself. You can prove it to your mom, you can prove it to your auntie, your grandpa, right? You can prove it to your cousins, whoever is questioning this and that don't believe God real and don't believe God left us something. Nah, at the bottom, second paragraph. Okay. Now look what it's saying. It's saying, okay, a record, right? Court entered or drawn on by its officers, and which is then deposited in the treasury, okay? Which is then deposited. We talking about the record. Now look at the birth certificate. It's called it a record. It's on file, right? Look at the definition of record, okay? Now when you get that record authenticated, you get another seal from the treasury and a signature, another specialty, and it's saying it's backed by full faith and credit. Come on, man. Gotta understand this shit. It's backed by full faith and credit of who? You, nigga. You, nigga. Get your credits, man. And that's what I'm telling y'all, man. We living off credits, bro. That's how you supposed to been living off the estate. The estate, the corpus and the income. You supposed to been living off that. That's what you benefit off of, right? The state jumped ahead and you ain't claim it, so they holding it as escrow agents and trustees. Okay? And we have the remedy where they gotta return that title deed. They gotta return that original record in the compound interest that my prophet talked about. Okay? That principal and interest. Okay? And the corpus itself, bring it back. Okay. All right, you can take it off, Brody. Pull up that. So, man, that'll be it, man. We was on here for an hour. We did another 30 minutes on the other joint, man. I feel like, right. I feel like we gave y'all a nice little breakdown. Um, now think about it, right? Most people that's gonna even come across this video never heard of nothing we just spoke about, right? So a lot of people are not gonna get this concept until they go research it or until they come to class. So I'm telling y'all, come on, man. September 14th, we going up. We're gonna break this shit down to the littlest form. Like I said, I might end up giving all of y'all a template of the estate ledger. And I'm gonna show y'all how what you supposed to be sending to the IRS and man, what you supposed to be getting back and how they supposed to be recognizing you. And it ain't supposed to be no debtor. You get me? Now you got the IRS and Treasury Authority. Man, you ain't gotta worry about the states. I just want y'all understanding that. You got your authority and all of that from people that they gotta go to cash out. All these states and they gotta go to the Treasury and the IRS to cash out. You see what I'm saying? Now, what I'm gonna build with you is a great foundation and fiduciary relationship with the IRS and the Treasury. Okay, getting certain identification numbers issued from the Treasury that you're gonna use now once you've sending in these certain forms, right? And the paperwork to back up your claim. See what I'm saying? Nobody not telling y'all that. Okay, everybody telling you, hey, send your birth certificate with a bond, and it's not how you do that. You first got to take up the office. You first got to pick up the office. That's rule one. Okay, rule one. The only one that's getting to that estate and getting credits and moving that is the executor. That's it, or the heir. That's the only one that can touch that estate or move it. Until then, the state got it locked in a vault. Period. They lying to you if they telling you anything else, bro. Okay, just look at your birth certificate. It said it. Now, tell me, have you heard anyone saying, "Oh, I went and got the original birth certificate. I went and got that original record and that security. I had to make them release it out of escrow." Who gonna tell you that? Who telling you to do that? You see what I'm saying? Who telling you to special deposit it into your express trust? Because that's where the corporates belong at. They don't belong in the public. It belong in the private trust, right? And then your moms and your pops failed to take the birth certificate and register it inside your private trust, right? So they in 42 days after that 42 days was up, oh, they said it's abandoned, right? So I could take this pledge right here and we can make some stocks and bonds and securities off it, right? And then what you think is funding the schools, the police stations, right? All of these buildings and you are with your estate. That's what's because remember, there's no money. Okay. The credit of the nation is backed by the people, okay? By government obligations, okay? Promissory notes, banker acceptance, okay? So we gotta understand that. Our obligations, our debts, turns into credits on the other side. That's what's making this shit go. All right, man. What you think, bro? We up out of here? Appreciate it, man. Yes, sir. richoffknowledge.com. Follow us on everything, all the platforms, man. We out of here.